Good evening, everyone. Let's see if I'm live. Hello there. Thank you so much for joining. Very nice to be here this evening with you. I'm just gonna, yep, oh good, I am live. That is lovely. Please let us know that you're here. Drop a comment. Doing a Facebook Live is so lonely sometimes. It feels like I'm speaking to the ethers. So I would love, even if you're just popping in for a hello, you're scrolling by, just say, hi, I just scrolled by. Welcome this evening to Mindfulness Meditation. I'm using my fancy lapel mic tonight, so hopefully you can hear me. Tonight, we have the opportunity and the extreme joy of coming together to practice sitting meditation, movement meditation, and breathing meditation. And we're also going to look at chapter 1 of our new book that we're going to be studying, Being Peace by Thich Nhat Hanh. This is what he looked like as a young man. And chapter 1 is called Suffering is Not Enough. So in the description of this video, I put a few reflective questions that I'm going to reiterate when we start doing our book study a little later on today. And for all those joining, please drop a comment, say hello, and we'd love to hear that you're here, even if you're just scrolling by. I'd like to start us off with a little quote, since we're going to be starting our new book, Being Peace, by Thich Nhat Hanh, over the next however many months. I think that there's 7 or 8 chapters. So for the next 7 or 8 practice sessions that we have together, we're going to be studying this book. So I thought I would just start us off with a quote by Thich Nhat Hanh. He says, if we are peaceful, if we are happy, we can smile and blossom like a flower. And everyone in our family, in our entire society, will benefit from our peace. It sounds beautiful, doesn't it? It sounds so easy and simple. I think we tend to think as peace as an outside job. But I love how he is just turning that around, that the peace tumbles out of us externally from inside. Isn't that beautiful? So let's tap into that vast ocean of pleasantness by practicing some mindful meditation. The whole thing with this meditation stuff, a lot of people think that you got to sit quiet and not fidget. You have to have the correct posture and the conditions have to be perfect for meditation, but that just isn't true. Thich Nhat Hanh pioneered this style of Buddhism called Engaged Buddhism, and that just means your practice is your life. That means you show up as you are, as these perfectly imperfect human beings that we are. My Dharma teacher says, welcome to the human race, Jenny. And that is such a relief that we don't have to be perfect. We're human beings. So, Engaged Buddhism, we practice where we are, we practice in our lives, and it doesn't have to be perfect or pretty. That means you can move if you move. You need to move your shoulders, you need to itch if you got an itch, you just do all of that, right? And also the goal is not to push away thoughts and feelings when you're having a sitting meditation practice. It's to watch, the goal is to watch these thoughts that come. And if you sit there and you become aware of these thoughts that come, we notice, wow, there are a lot of thoughts coming in. And that's not to shame ourselves, it's just to notice that our reptilian brain has a mind of its own. And can we harness that? Can we harness the power of our brain and work with it? And these days, I find a very long sit is not very possible for myself. I like to have nice short sits, multiple short sits, because I don't know, just the stress of these days with the pandemic and political, social, economic strife that's all bubbling up for us to see, it's really hard to sit for a long period of time. So I like to just set myself up for success and just have a nice short sit. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to start with a nice short sit. It's going to start with a guided meditation on the breath, and then we're going to flow into a very short silent sit. No big deal, right? Yeah. And for those of you out there that are very new to meditation, for those of you out there that may have a level of PTSD or trauma where sitting and watching your thoughts is uncomfortable or sometimes very uncomfortable, that's okay. You can sit with your eyes open. You can just dull your gaze and shift it downward. And you can just try to quiet your mind for a moment, breathe, and focus on your breath. And not for the goal of maybe closing your eyes, if that's maybe too much. So the whole goal here is to do what works for you. So I'm going to invite this bell 3 times, and then I'm going to start with our guided meditation, followed by a silent meditation. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable. If you want to shift your gaze downward, start to really come back to yourself, your true home, your only true home. Feel all the places where your breath goes in your body. And we'll begin. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. We send our hearts out along with the sound of this bell. May all who hear it awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Breathing in. I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know that I am breathing out. In, out. Breathing in. I follow my in-breath from its very beginning to its very end. Breathing out. I follow my out-breath from its very beginning to its very end. In, out. out. Beginning, end. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I rest and I heal my body. Stopping, calming, resting, healing. We'll now enter a period of silent meditation until the next sound of the bell. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Allowing a smile to gently fall onto your lips. And if you ever get stuck, just follow your breath. I'm going to invite the small bell for a little stretching and massage. Go ahead and stretch your arms and your legs. And we're going to do a little bit of mindful movement now. Since we're stretching, we're just going to go right into our mindful movement. So go ahead and just move your body however that feels comfortable. You don't have to make any big movements. You can sway back and forth, forward and backward, maybe in a circle. We're just waking our sits bones, our trunk that's touching the chair, we're waking that up. Just be mindful of all the places where your weight is going, because when you go back, can you put some weight on that? And then reverse. See if you can make this movement super duper small. Like it's almost like you're not even moving. And don't worry about people seeing you or anything like that. You're going on feeling right now. So as long as you feel like you're making a circle, it may not look like you are. You can barely tell that I'm making a circle, but I am making a circle. Maybe go the other way, clockwise, counterclockwise. See if you can find that quiet place inside the movement. Good. Go ahead and take a pause. Come to stillness. Breathe. Bring your attention to your trunk. See if there's any increased blood flow or if you're noticing anything about the space in your body. And go ahead and we're going to just have this very gentle, we're not like going to do a super hard fist, but like soft fists. And we're just going to knock our arms. It's not like we're beating ourselves up because I love you, body. I would never hit you like that. So we're just gently, just enough to wake the body up and have some increased blood flow. And you want to do both sides of your arms and your forearms. Good job. You're going to do your belly. Nice and gentle, soft fist, remember? You're going to do your chest. I'm not going to beat my chest here because I'm wearing that microphone. It's going to sound annoying to you guys. Then go ahead and go down the center of your head and then even down the sides. Doesn't it feel good? It doesn't seem like it would feel good, but it feels very good. And you're just using your knuckles to sort of knock all of the muscles in the head. I'm a massage therapist and people are always telling me, wow, I love head massages. And it's because we think too much. We got to disperse that thinking energy. And also there are muscles in our head. So we're starting to bring blood flow into the head. So go ahead and take a pause and come to stillness and just watch what's happening inside your body. Ooh, there's an explosion of movement and sensation. I'm going to guess that that's blood flow. All right, circulation for the win. Beautiful. So we're going to do another sit. This time we're not going to do a guided meditation. We're just going to flow into a silent meditation. So go ahead and get comfy again. Maybe your back is against the back of your chair. Your feet are flat on the ground. And if you want to lay down, you could do that too. Just remember that we're somewhere in between restful and wakeful. So we're not sleeping or dozing. We are awake and we are just watching our bodies as we're in our bodies, if that makes sense. Watching the body in real time in the present moment. Nice. All right, so I'm going to invite the bell 3 times, and then we'll have a short sit, and then it'll be over when I invite the bell again. All righty? Enjoy your breath. I'm going to invite the bell again for stretching and massage. Ooh, I just heard my clavicle crack. Maybe you heard it too because the microphone is very close there. The clavicle is your collarbone. Ah. So, how was that? We'll have another sit after our book study. And I just want to give a shout out to the 2 faithful meditators that are here on this live, and maybe others that are going to be watching the replay. Please leave a comment. I just sent an email before this to the crew that would join mindful meditation when it was live at the library. Remember that? That was a long time ago, it feels. And I'm just wondering if maybe we should take this party to Zoom. What do you think? You can leave a comment and see if that might fly for you. That way we can do a lot more. Our capacities are expanded a little bit more, and the number of activities that we can do is also expanded. So that's a possibility, right? If that appeals to you, let me know. Also, I would like to say to all the people watching live, thank you for your practice. And all the people too watching the replay, thank you for your practice. You're contributing to the peace in this world by practicing. So, Being Peace is our book. We're starting anew with a new book. We read Anger for what, 11 months? Can it really be so? Yes. We read, it was amazing. We read 11 chapters over the course of the months that we had the in-person and also the other meetings on Facebook Live here. And now we are going to be doing a new book, Being Peace. It has about 8 chapters, so it's not going to take us as long as Anger did. Anyway, who cares how long it takes? Because we're going to be in the present moment together. That's me being human again. So this chapter is called Suffering is Not Enough. Isn't that a lovely picture? Ah. And to me, that picture, the shoes are off, which is definitely necessary. But to me, this picture encapsulates what one of the first part of this chapter is about. And it's about nourishing and watering seeds of joy alongside of seeds of suffering. Suffering is inevitable, right? And it's going to happen, right? You know, we suffer because we lose a loved one. We suffer because we're sad. But alongside of all of these things, we have joy, we have community, and we have chocolate. So I love what Thich Nhat Hanh says in this beginning of the chapter, and he says, "To suffer is not enough. We must also be in touch with the wonders of life. They are within us and all around us, everywhere, anytime." And that I love the fact that you can call them up at any time, that happiness is possible, and the wonders of life are possible at any time. In this chapter, he uses a bunch of different metaphors for caring for yourself and monitoring the amount that you truly have to suffer, because our society is set up such that, for instance, he starts talking about television and media and all of the things on the outside of us that we can consume, like magazines and books and television and the news and programs, and that if we can turn off that channel, so to speak, if we can turn that down and we can come back to ourselves, then we can have a television station, because earlier in the book he talks about how a human being is like a television set with millions of channels. If we turn the Buddha on, we are the Buddha. So if we turn on the teachings that we've been practicing over and over again that have Buddha nature, Buddha just means enlightened being, which means you and I can be a Buddha. Isn't that great? We can be enlightened beings because we know about mindfulness. And that mindfulness is a path to peace. It's that simple, right? It's simple, but it's not easy, right? Because we have to keep practicing. But he says, if we turn on a smile, we really are a smile. We cannot let just one channel dominate us. We have the seed of everything in us, and we have to seize the situation in our hand to recover our own sovereignty. Love that. And then he goes on to talk about, how we let ourselves be invaded by a program or a newspaper article, or an opinion or a belief. And we let that invade us. And that it truly is an act of revolution or rebellion when we are able to come back to ourselves and look into our own Buddha nature to be able to decide whether or not we want that in our environment and in around us. He talks about how he uses a metaphor about expecting a child. He says, suppose you are expecting a child. You need to breathe and smile for him or her. Please don't wait until your baby is born before beginning to take care of him or her. You can take care of your baby right now or even sooner. If you cannot smile, that is very serious. You might think, I'm too sad. Smiling is just not the correct thing to do right now. Maybe crying or shouting would be correct, but your baby will get it. Anything you are, anything you do is for your baby. Even if you do not have a baby in your womb, the seed is already there. Aw, to take care of your baby. I love that. So, the last thing I wanted to talk about in this chapter is, he says, this is the best. He said, Thich Nhat Hanh said to a child, Tim, you have a very beautiful smile. And little Tim said, thank you. And Thich Nhat Hanh said to him, well, I should be thanking you. You should be saying you're welcome, because everyone profits from your smile. It's the most, he says, Thich Nhat Hanh says, smiling is the most basic peace work that we can do. Because not only are we making ourselves smile, but we're making other people smile around us. And there actually is this part in the chapter here where I think, let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah. Recently, one friend asked me, how can I force myself to smile when I'm filled with sorrow and it doesn't feel natural? I told her she must be able to smile to her sorrow, because we are more than our sorrow. A human being is like a television set with millions of channels. If we turn the Buddha on, we are the Buddha. If we turn the sorrow on, we are the sorrow. If we turn a smile on, we really are the smile. We cannot let just one channel dominate us. We have the seed of everything in us, and we have to seize the situation in our hand to recover our own sovereignty. I know I read that once, but I think it totally deserved a second reading. Also repetition, right? Just like practice, it gets it in there. In the Thich Nhat Hanh practice, we say the same mantras over and over again. They're like gathas, that's what they're called, these short little phrases that we practice. And it really helps, the repetition helps get it in there. Before you know it, you'll be in the shower and all of a sudden you're going to be saying it because it gets in there. We're creatures of habit, aren't we? So, I posed 2 questions in the email that I sent earlier. And the first question, and I'd like you, if you have paper around you, fine. I didn't say be prepared with paper, so you don't have to have paper. But if you have it, that would be really great. If you don't, that's really great too, because we could just take a moment of silence and you can think to yourself about the answer. The first thing that I would like to do is ask you a question, and I'd like to invite you to ponder this. What wonders of life ease your suffering? What wonders of life ease your suffering? If you want, you can write it in the chat. If you want, you can just sit quietly. We can invite the bell. We can sit quietly for 1 minute. You don't have to meditate. You can just merely sit and daydream with daydreamy eyes, look around your room, and ponder what wonders of life ease your suffering. And I'll just give you a minute to ponder that, and I'll invite the bell when the time's up. I'd love to hear what wonders of life ease your suffering. I think today for me, it's having a lazy day, because that's what I did today. I think that I'm going to call that a wonder of life, because that's how I feel. I feel like having a lazy day is a wonder of life. And truly leaning into that lazy day, not feeling guilt or shame about being unproductive, but really leaning into my lazy day. All right, my second invitation that was inspired by our book study tonight from this chapter is a body-centered practice. It's a practical practice. That's one thing about Thich Nhat Hanh's engaged Buddhism. His first book that he ever wrote was called The Miracle of Mindfulness. And it has a bunch of practical exercises in it that you literally do. It's a book, but it's also suggestions of exercises to do. And when I told my Dharma teacher, Joanne Friday, that I was reading The Miracle of Mindfulness, the first thing she said was, "How are those body-centered practices going?" And I was like, ah, what body-centered practices? I skip over that. And it was true at the time. I would read the book and I would skip right over those body-centered practices. But those body-centered practices are part of this practice of mindfulness. We can't skip over the body. Body and mind are one, Thich Nhat Hanh says. We have to experience the body in the body. We have to practice studying and feeling what the body feels while we're in the body. It's a very interesting mindfulness practice, especially for people who have a very complicated relationship with their bodies. This can be very challenging. So, very, easefully, I would like you to ease into this practice. And so this practice, if you have a very complicated relationship with your body, honestly, maybe keep your eyes open. And if you start feeling a little unsettled, maybe look around your room and find something square or round, something to ground you. But I would like to invite you to at least try this body-centered practice. So I'd like to invite you to call up an example of something that made you suffer. Nothing too big. We're going to go very small for this. It could just be I got down the street on my way to the store and I forgot my list on the counter. That made you suffer, right? Yeah, because you had to go back and you wasted time, and then the cascade of thoughts comes, right? So choose something small, relatively benign to focus on. Go ahead and I'll give you a minute to call that up. You got it? Okay, good. So now I'd like to invite you to smile to this suffering. And not just smile with your mouth, but smile with your heart. See if you can do it. I'm not expecting you to be able to just be automatic with this, because it depends the level of suffering, the example that you chose. And you know, us Westerners, we like to choose the most hardest thing, and we like to go for the gold. Like, yeah, I'm gonna choose a long-standing fight that I've had with my grandmother, and I'm gonna smile to that suffering. Don't choose that one. Choose something very small and see if you can smile to it. And I'm just going to give you a minute of silence, and I'll invite the bell when the time's up. I wonder how that was for you. This is a wonderful practice. My little example was that I picked my cat up this morning and she didn't want to be held, so she scratched me. It was very painful. It made me suffer. But I tried to smile to her and realized she didn't want to be picked up. Okay. So I'm wondering how your example turned out for you. This is a lovely practice to start to learn how to transform suffering, right? Not wipe it out altogether, not ignore it, but just acknowledge it and just see what's there for us. So I hope that this was beneficial. We're going to close with another short seated meditation and, of course, a song. We can't leave without a song. So I'll invite the bell and we'll have a nice, enjoyable sit until the next sound of the bell. Small bell again for stretching and massage. And our song tonight, which one should we do? Well, if you go to my personal page, Jenny Z, you'll see this. But I was cooking mushroom gravy yesterday. My husband taught me to make mushroom gravy to go over some russet potatoes. Yummy. And I love to sing Thich Nhat Hanh songs or Plum Village songs when I'm cooking to mindfully cook. And this song came up. It's called The Realm of the Mind. And we can sing it a few times together. I'll go first just to give you a little, the way that it goes. And I might be a little off key, but who cares? Because we're going to have fun. So it goes like this. The realm of the mind is mine. I can choose where I want to be. Both heaven and hell I know equally well. The choice is up to me. The realm of the mind is mine. I can choose where I want to be. Both heaven and hell I know equally well. The choice is up to me. The realm of the mind is mine. I can choose where I want to be. Both heaven and hell I know equally well. The choice is up to me. One more time. The realm of the mind is mine. I can choose where I want to be. Both heaven and hell I know equally well. The choice is up to me. It's true. We have a choice. Yay! Thank you so much for joining. And I see somebody wrote Zoom. So if you want to private message me your email, I will start collecting emails so that I can send out the Zoom link, because there's this thing called Zoom bombing. And early in the pandemic, I was a victim of Zoom bombing. They come in and they start making loud noises. So I've learned you don't put the Zoom link on a public page. So I'm going to privately email people. Don't put your email in the chat here. You got to private message me or email me at jenny.lin.z@gmail.com. Anyway, I would like to dedicate this practice for all beings. May the goodness of our practice benefit all beings. Thank you so much for your practice tonight, everybody. And we have, just like it says in the description, I don't know if it's right or left for you, but it's left for me, that December 17th is going to be our next meeting, and we are going to be doing chapter 2 of Being Peace. And chapter 2 is called The Three Gems: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So, yay! Thanks for your practice. You guys are awesome. Peace in every step. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.